All right, good morning, everyone. This is our third session of our joint mobility and flexibility class. I forget about the name sometimes. Welcome. We will be stretching today. We'll start on the chair. We'll do some standing, but we'll probably transition to do a little bit more on the floor. Okay, so there's some stretches I do want to do on the floor that works on your hip flexors, and the only ways to really get into that is to be laying down on your back and then doing some movements with your hips. So I want to get to that by the end of the session. Remember, if you have any uh, joints or muscle groups that you like to stretch out, feel free to just comment on the chat and we'll try to through those. Just this morning, I got out of bed in a funny manner and I kind of tweaked a little bit, like the upper middle part of my back. So there's a little bit of sensitivity there. Yeah, just when you have that going on, just make sure you don't overdo it. Sometimes we feel like, oh, like I pulled something, I should overstretch it now to make it feel better. And sometimes that could be counterintuitive. Just listen to your body. Again, if there's any stretches or movements that cause pain or irritate you, just skip them and go on to the next one. Okay. And we'll start from the chair, standing, floor. So let's start with some facial ones, which we haven't done in a minute. So let's go ahead. We're going to open our mouth as wide as we can. As we keep our mouth open, turn your head up. And once your head is up, now I want you to close your mouth by bringing your jaw towards your nose. And you're gonna feel a nice pull over here, okay? So let's go ahead and do about 8 of those. So open, up, and shut. And really pull with an intention of stretching out that neck. If you just feel like you're just closing your mouth, like if you're just trying to relax it, you're really not gonna stretch that area out much. So really try to pull on that chin towards your nose. Let's do about 2 more. Last one. Very good. All right, just gentle palpation. So just with your middle finger, your index finger, just gently, just massage from your earlobes down your jawline to your chin, just promoting a little bit of blood flow through that area. Yeah, so the jaw stretch we just did, it's good for the muscles around the jaw. And the secondary benefit is supposed to be to work on the wrinkles we have on our neck, which I've noticed mine are that stretch hasn't been working because I feel like my wrinkles are just adding on there. So let's go ahead, continue. All right. Okay, and then just with your soft parts of your knuckles, just kind of rub on your cheeks. And I know I have those wrinkles because I'll go on a run in the middle of the day and I come back and my neck looks like a zebra from the wrinkles just from getting tan from being out there for about an hour. Um, I have different shades of tan and brown. All right, we're gonna go ahead, inhale through your nose for about 3 seconds, and fully exhale through your lips. All of it out, every last drop of air out. Okay, you're gonna feel your core get tight. Again, repeat. Make sure you're comfortable. Don't want anyone passing out with this. All of it out. Last one. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and fill up our cheeks with air and just move that air bubble left to right and then also up and down. Similar idea of like stretching out that skin, but also working on the muscles around our lips and our cheeks. So puff up your cheeks like a puffer fish and then left to right. If it gets uncomfortable, release that air and then just refill it. Let's go up and down. And relax. Very good. All righty. Let's go ahead and go left to right. So now we're just turning our head, stretching out our neck. Ooh, that turning to the right irritates it a little bit. And it's always something silly. It's the way I irritate my back. It sounds like I'm lifting some heavy object or doing something dramatic. It's, just a tweak. I'm like laying on my side and I just push off the bed in a different manner or and then yeah, I feel a little irritation and now I'll probably feel this for the next few days. Up and down. So yeah, I'll make sure. I think we're due for like a walk at Mile Square Park or something. It's been a couple years now, but I think in the summer when we have like a Saturday session, I think for whoever can make it, we'll meet maybe at that Starbucks again, or if anyone has any other parks in mind where we could get a good crowd. And then whoever can't make it, we'll have a recording for you. But yeah, it's been a while. Get just comfortable. Let's go neck circles.
Last time we met, Julian was a baby in the
Yeah,
stroller.
stroller, right. I think, yeah, my mom was there. I think Carmen, you, Ella, Jan, Cherise. Debbie, we gotta get you out there too. Josefina, let's switch. I still remember the first time I met Debbie in person. I
I
was I was so confused. I was like, why does that lady over there look very familiar? And I was like, oh, that's Debbie.
I think Debbie lives far away from the Mile Square. I think that was the problem.
Yeah, yeah, she's out there in the mountains area or just in the foothills.
In the mountain? Oh
The closest mountains to us. Let's sit on that right
no.
hand, fix that right shoulders. Yeah, she's out there. Terry, or we could all go to the Camarillo area and go hang out with Terry and then have brunch at her place afterwards.
And have lunch at Debbie's? Did you
No, oh
say?
yeah, sure, on the way back home, swing by. Yeah, but Terry's been wanting us to visit for a while now. So let's switch. Josefina said she could make us some chilaquiles and you know get there for breakfast and then maybe some what's for lunch, Josefina?
Ramon is in charge of the lunch.
Ramon's in charge of the kitchen.
He's gonna make carne asada if you
Oh,
come.
there we go, carne asada. I'll bring
Okay.
I'll bring the napkins. Let's bring
Okay.
grab right behind your head and drop those elbows down.
Hace un tiempo, Julio, un sketch para que vengas cansada, en verdad.
No. We'll rotate every week.
Okay. You know where.
Let's look to the left and then just apply a little bit of pressure on your right side to turn a little bit more. And switch. Very good. All right, let's start with some shoulder movement here. So just snow angels. Yeah, I think Miles Square Park is probably like a good hub for most. But yeah, there's so many nice trails in every direction. There's the wetlands in Bolsa Chica out there just west of Huntington Beach. There's also Irvine Regional Park. There's Shady Canyon. I think that's closer to you, right, Kathleen? Um, what else? There's Carbon Canyon, that's in Brea. But yeah, if we have uh, some of our newer folks too, if you'd like to meet Miss Wen, I'd love to meet you in person too. I've known you for like 4 years and never met you in person here. But yeah, if we could meet up, it'd be great. Okay, let's do.
I always have classes over the weekend, since 7 until noon, so that's why I'm never free on the weekend.
You're a busy lady on the weekends?
Yes, I have like 7 to 9, then 9 to 12, and it's all
Oh,
classes.
oh, okay. I thought you were taking the like the you know how sometimes through the city they'll do like community rides to like the casinos or to like massage like resorts. I thought you were doing that. Or a party bus to San Diego. Let's switch. I just got invited to one of those trips for one of those buses that takes you somewhere for the day and brings you back. And this one was to go see spring ball game for the Dodgers in Arizona. But it just kind of seems like it might be too wild of a crowd for me. So just up and down. The way they promote it is it's kind of funny. Let's go do the opposite shoulder tap. So just keep your elbows at your side. Come here. So yeah, so there's a flyer that my friend sent me. He's like, hey, if you want to come, I'm going with my family, and it's $180. You either get picked up in El Monte or in Palm Springs, which I don't know why I would drive to Palm Springs to get picked up. I'd probably go to El Monte. And then it says all you could drink from 5 a.m. until we get back at midnight. I'm just like, I don't think I want to be part of that group for that weekend. So especially going to a Dodger game across the state. So let's go our door openers here. So I might skip that offer. So you're just working on that lateral side of our shoulder. Yeah, but we'll definitely make it happen this summer where we'll meet. I think I could schedule it to make it work. So we're switching here. Very good. All right, we're gonna do our shoulder circles. Again, we're just gonna bring those shoulders up, forward, down, back. Let's go in reverse. Up, back, down, forward. I drop these shoulders down. That actually feels really good on that area of my back. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do our cat scratching pose here. So sitting towards the front of your chair, reach up towards the ceiling, reach as high as you can, put your arms straight out, come here, and come back. So reach. 3, 4. We'll do 8 of these, so 3 more. Get that full stretch. 1 more. Oof. Very good. All right. Well, I think it's time to replace these carpets on my garage. Let's go ahead. We're gonna start making our way down our trunk. So legs pointed forward, gentle turn to your right using your backrest. Oh, that's just good. Oh, this is what my back needed right here. Switch. Oh. Gentle stretch. Ooh. All right. Now we're gonna go with our hip openers. Goes here, just coming out, pushing that knee away. Besides Terry is and Anna, is anyone outside of Orange County or Alley County? Give me a thumbs up. No, okay, I think most people are local. Let's switch. Debbie, are you considered LA County? I don't know where that Inland Empire or San Bernardino County line is at. Switch. I used to have someone, I think, from San Francisco area. And yeah, they didn't know anyone in class, so I don't know how that person found out about us, but glad they did. So yeah, piriformis stretch, left ankle on that right knee. Hopefully we could get that ankle there. If you're comfortable, if you don't mind, you could also message me privately on the chat if you don't wish to share. But if you don't mind just sharing with me the city of where you reside, so maybe I could find a location. Let's push down on that knee, or we can maybe meet up in person if we do meet as a group. And if you're interested, of course. So if you're not interested, don't worry. You don't have to share. But yeah, I would just to like to make it easier for everyone if we could get this in person walk. Bring that knee up. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's Fountain Valley. That's where Julian Staker's at. I'm out there maybe like once a week. Bitch. So right ankle on that left knee. Miles Square Park. I used to work right there off Magnolia and Warner at Snail's Pace Running Shop. And yeah, worked there for about 3 years, about 10 years ago, and was always out in that area running around Miles Square Park. Pico Rivera, that's right. Push down. Josefina lives in my hometown where I grew up. Push down. So Varna, cool. Bring that knee closer to you. And then you should feel that right along that outside area. Santa Ana. Yep, makes sense. All right. We're gonna skip the whole leg stuff here because I want to do that on the floor. So we'll just go straight to our calves, our ankles, arches, and then we'll go to our stand up. Okay, so just this is your calf phrases. So about 20 of these. Yeah, and there's also I think the campus, the continuing education Santa Ana campus. I forget what park it's called. Is it Centennial Park? But that's I think in Santa Ana. That one could be another meetup location. I remember that's where I first got introduced to Santa Ana and the programs.
Yes,
Now,
I think by Edinger.
Edinger Park or Centennial Park?
Yeah.
Okay, so toes up. So that could be another option. I think that's what, like maybe a couple miles off from Miles Square Park. Not too far.
Yeah, about that, maybe less.
Yeah. What park's nicer, Carmen?
My favorite is Miles Square.
Yeah. So toes up. Mile Square Park. I used to when I worked around there, let's do our ABCs. I used to like going to Mile Square Park because, sometimes I would tell myself, all right, let's go for a run. And I'd be about a mile out on my run. And then I would just flip it back and be like, okay, like I'm over this. I'm just gonna go back to my car and go home. But at Mile Square Park, once you start and you're like close to the opposite end, you have to do the other 2 miles. You can't just like cut across the park to the golf course and stuff. So it almost forces you to get that solid walk in. Um, but yeah, that's what I like about that park, that there's no other way around it, and you're committed to walking that distance. So if you do the whole park, I believe it's 4 miles.
Yes, it is. But Centennial, my problem is that there are too many birds, and they don't. Is the cleaning of those things are not as efficient.
Oh, okay.
That's the only part, but other than that, it's a beautiful park.
Yeah. Yeah, with the has the little pond and
There's even by the Huntington Beach and the library right behind that. There's like that. It's like a whole circle that you said you kind of have to finish, which is also
oh,
really nice.
okay, like a walking path.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll look into that too. Yeah, I like checking out new places. Let's go ahead and do our arches. So just feet are flat, no shoes, be barefoot, and then just claw your toes towards your heel. Check, check the chat.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Central Park. I forgot that word.
Oh yeah, Central Park. Yeah, so funny story, you actually bring up Central Park. My wife took the kids there last week, and they were on their scooters, and Julian, of course, hit the little lip of the sidewalk curve, and of course he goes over, and yeah, busted his lip on that. But it's a nice park besides that. But yeah, no, it's we've had cross country races there. Now let's do our metatarsals. So feet are flat, and we're not clawing at the floor. We're just trying to pull our arches towards your heel. So it does require a little bit more focus. So again, your toes don't curl. You just pull on that metatarsal area back. One of my star runners, she broke her metatarsal, that bone, but on the lateral side, on the outside part of the foot, from her pinky toe, she broke that metatarsal bone. So she's on a cast right now. So we're hoping she bounces back fairly uh, smoothly, healthy. I think it's like a 6 week recovery time. All right, let's get on our feet. So let's get that foam roller. Get a little bit of water too. Don't forget. We had a workout yesterday at Signal Hill, and my kids were struggling. I was like, yeah, it gets hot. Just because it's January doesn't mean you don't have to be hydrated. All right. Good stuff. Yep. So grab that foam roller. All right, so let's go ahead, grab our foam roller here. And let's begin just left to right. Okay, we're gonna guide with the left hand and push with the right hand up. So just here to this left side. Let's go 30 degrees forward. Let's go 60. $90 right in front of you. And towards the back now. Push back. All right, now we're gonna go on the right side, okay? So right arm comes up, being guided, and then push through your left hand. All right, 30 degrees forward. $60. $90 right in front of you. Now towards the back. All right, let's go behind the back, up and down. And lift. So, up. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and put that off to the side. We'll just do a few standing stretches and then go down to the floor soon. Okay, so just gentle turn left to right. Half circles. So let's bend, come across, bring back. And repeat. Big hula hoops. Switch. Let's do our hamstring stretch and then we'll go to our yoga mat. Okay, so for our hamstring stretch, just slide your hands down to your ankles and then just extend the hips up and down. Like you're a little bit of popping on your knees. Hopefully that's okay. Last one. All right. Awesome. Let's go ahead and grab our yoga mat. Okay. We'll spend the remainder of the class time on the floor. Yoga mat. Give you another minute to get settled in. So take another minute. All right. So let's go ahead. Get on our fours. Well, actually, belly down. Belly down. And then get on our fours here. Belly down. Sorry, on your elbows, like you're sitting on your fours. But on your elbows. And just relaxing here. Your elbows. Let's go ahead and place our hands where our elbows were and push up gently. If this is too much, then you can just rest on your elbows as we were. From here, let's bring your glutes to your heels. All the way back. Let's go ahead and reset. Okay, let's bring your wrists right below your shoulders, your knees right below your hips. And we're gonna do our cat-cow. So inhale, arch up. Exhale, arch down. Repeat. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Two more. Up. Down. Last one. Up. Down. Very good. We're gonna shift our hands to the right of the mat. So just shift your hands, moving your body, knees and legs don't move. Arch your back and bring your glutes back to your heels. Reset. Let's bring our hands to our left side. And once right here, arch up. Glutes to heels. Reset. Very good. All right. You're gonna have a little bit of strength going on right now, but also flexibility around the hip joint. So you're gonna stand this cat-cow, but what I want you to bring is this is gonna be the fire hydrant strengthening movement that we usually do in our lower body strengthening class over here. And I just want you to bring your leg out and down. Okay, so out, down, keep your back straight. We'll do about 6 on each side. Okay, switch. So now left leg goes up and down. Very good. All right, same quadruped position, but now we're gonna keep our leg, straighten it up, out, and then just go up and down. Okay, so leg is straight, and then just up and down. Let's switch. Left leg, straight, up, and you're gonna rest your arms a little bit. get a little fatigue for your arms. So in this kneeling position, bring your right leg out. And you could just lean forward or you could support yourself with your hands, but I want you to lean forward right here. Should feel that stretch running through the underside of your thigh. All right, torso is upright. Rotate your torso towards your leg and lean. Reset. Just gonna scoot over to my right. Gonna bring that left leg out. And again, lean. Lean down. All right, straighten out. Torso. Turn it to your left side and lean towards that leg. Make sure you're having nice deep breaths. And relax. All right. We're almost done. We have a couple more for our hips. So this one, we will be on our backs. Okay. What I want you to do is bring your knee as high as you can and then extend it. So just, just without the assistance of your hands, you might have it come to this position, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit more. But what I want you to do is hands clench under the knee and pull a little bit more and reset. Just to really, sometimes our joints and limbs have a little bit more range of motion, but they require the assistance of our hands to be pulling on them. All right, switch, left side. All right, we're gonna come back to a variation on that soon, but right now, sit up position, hands at your side, knees are tucked in and bent, and then just drop your knees to your right and drop knees to your left. Very good. All right, this is going to be a little bit more demanding, so it might seem like we're kind of semi working out here, but it's still a good stretch for your hip flexors. So I'm just going to keep my hands at my hips and bring both knees up and then extend out. Again, up, extend out. Almost like an oblique crunch. We're not really trying to get the benefits of the crunch here. It's more of the mobility of the hip joint that we're trying to get out of this, but just by consequence, we're getting a little bit of core work. And if this is too much, you could just continue with one leg at a time. All right, and to finish off, we'll go with our book openers. So gentle on our back. So we're here on our side, resting on my right side. I'm gonna stack my left hand on top of my right hand, tuck in my knees a little bit, and just follow my left hand as far as I can. Done this long enough now that I can reach the floor behind me. So you're gonna do about 8 of these. Wow. Two more. Last one. Very good. All right. Gonna go on this left side here. Again, tuck in the knees, stack the hand, and follow that right hand out all the way behind and back. Do about 4 more. Good. Again. Last 2. And 1 more. Oh, very good. Oof. Hopefully everyone's feeling a little bit more relaxed. I feel like my back feels a little better. Not 100%, but I think I went from like 60% working to about 75% now. So I feel like I have a little bit more comfort in there. Oof. How's everyone doing? Okay. All right. Good job, Debbie. Thanks for going live as always. Any questions before we head out? Thanks, Miss Wynn. All right, folks. Carmen. I know, time for a nap, right? So, all right, everyone. We'll
I
see.
wish I can sleep
I wish,
or
yeah.
take naps. I'm bad at during the day.
Uh,
Ugh,
yeah. If I have an hour to
hard
take a
work.
nap, it takes me 50 minutes to fall asleep, and I might get a 5-minute nap. That's
I
me.
used to do that when I
Yeah.
was like your age.
Yeah, I can't nap, but any questions, Shavana?
No, thank you. I had a wonderful class. Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Great. Yeah, hopefully we're feeling well. And like I said, we don't meet the rest of the week. So yeah, just make sure you're active, some yard work, some gardening, some walking, some cooking, whatever it is.
Eating.
Uh, Yeah, remember eating, of course, but remember if weight loss is the goal, you're gonna benefit more from watching what you eat than actually working out. The working out is great for your joints and your strength.
Eating the right things.
Saying no to, that extra sweet bread
Right.
or the frappuccino, mochaccino, whatever it is gonna affect you a little bit more. So, all right,
You
everyone.
know, sorry, just
Oh,
a
yeah.
little joke in there. I was taking some yoga classes and the instructor said, "Oh, I have like a really good exercise for you guys." So it's the same thing. It's like you look here and you look here and you keep doing that when everybody offers you food because you're like, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, just stretch that neck. So you
Yeah.
have good range of motion. But then you could also stretch out this way too. So that could
But
be
you're saying no to the
effective.
food, right? So you're like, no,
So
no.
yeah, that's true. But
Gracias,
yeah,
Julio.
no, that's the biggest factor. So oh yeah, I remember I forget when, but at some point there was like one of my nephew's birthdays, like or nieces, like every 2 or 3 weeks, and you knew it was just gonna be cake and great food and drinks, and it's just like, oh, I'm just trying to be good. So, all right, everyone, enjoy the rest of the week. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Gracias.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Chloe.
Julio. You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Gracias.